EC's Trojan horse? I don't even own a suit. I've been a registered independent my whole entire life. This is why normal people don't run for office. This is why people hate politics. This makes you want to cut your TV in half.
That's independent Senate candidate Dan Osborn of Nebraska responding to a barrage of Republican attack ads. Republicans didn't plan on spending millions of dollars to defend Senator Deb Fischer, but Osborn's insurgent campaign has taken off. So we went out to Nebraska to talk to the candidate who has surprised just about everybody.
He's the candidate no one saw coming.
I've got a plan to take on corruption in Washington.
A Navy veteran, a mechanic, a former union president, and a first-time political candidate. Osborn is known out here for helping lead a 2021 strike at a Kellogg's plant in Omaha. He's an independent who declined an endorsement from the state Democratic Party and upended Republican Senator Deb Fischer's plans for an easy re-election. Part of his rise, a creative ad campaign.
The U.S. Senate is a bunch of millionaires controlled by billionaires. My opponent, Deb Fischer, is part of the problem. She's taken so much corporate cash, she should wear patches, like NASCAR.
Republicans are now dumping millions into the race, portraying Osborn as a liberal Democrat in disguise.
Nebraskans won't be fooled by this dangerous Trojan horse.
I met up with him in Omaha for his very first interview on network television.
This is your first foray into politics. Why are you doing it?
Well, I'm doing it, and I'm running as an independent because I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with two parties, the fighting, the infighting, the outfighting, not getting anything done. You know, we've seen a farm bill, September 30th, come and go. It's on extension from 2018. We've seen two border bills get shot down, and people just aren't working together. And but ultimately, I haven't always been a political guy, and it really wasn't until corporate greed came knocking on my door in the form of Kellogg's making record profits during COVID and then trying to take from their workers. And so it really opened my eyes to the fact you know, the way our world is and the way our government's run.
I've heard you use a phrase, I think I have this right, that we're in a two-party doom loop. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, meaning exactly what I said before. They're just not getting anything done. You know, neither side wants either side to have a win. And I feel like we as people are getting left behind.
And you've always been an independent?
Yep, I've been registered independent from the time I could vote.
And you vote ultimately Republican, Democrat?
I vote on the person, who they are, whether or not I believe they have integrity. I always lean towards a veteran if there's one in the race, and based off of individual policies.
The Republicans have attacked you, saying you're really kind of a hidden Democrat. You're secretly Trojan horse, I think was the phrase Deb Fischer used. What do you say to that?
Well, I'd say, well, first of all, I've been a registered independent from the time I could vote. I grew up in a very conservative household, the Reagan and Bush years. And for me, it's just a ploy. Deb Fischer's in trouble. We've been tied in the polls within the margin of error in the last 8 polls that have come out. So that's what they have. That's what they're going to try to use to demonize me. But the fact of the matter is everything that I do is issue-based. So if you want to know where I stand and who I am, you just got to look at the issues.
So let's take a couple of those issues. Tariffs, that's a big issue in this campaign at the presidential level. What do you think about tariffs as a way to help American industry raise money, as Trump would say, or raise taxes, as others would say?
Yeah, I think tariffs can be utilized for good, but you got to be careful. Because a lot of times tariffs just comes back on the consumer, and they're the ones paying the price. We've seen it with our soybean farmers are struggling because of tariffs on China. But I do believe in targeted tariffs can be successful if you do it right, but you got to think ahead on who it can damage and who's ultimately going to pay for it.
And what about the border?
Well, without a border, we don't have a country, plain and simple. We've seen 2 comprehensive border bills get shot down. My opponent voted against them. Again, two-party doom loop. They want to play politics with it. It would have added 1,500 more border agents, money and technology to our ports of entry to help try to curb the drug trafficking through there, the human trafficking through our ports of entry. And I think she votes those down because she doesn't want the border closed. If she takes money from the meat packers in this state who benefit from a wide open border with an influx of undocumented workers that they can exploit their labor and pay them next to nothing and continue to enrich themselves.
So Deb Fischer's using Donald Trump in her latest ad. I mean, he's literally on his plane attacking you.
His name is Dan Osborn, and he's a radical left person, a Bernie Sanders type Democrat, but we want somebody that's going to be strong, powerful, and great for our country, and it's not going to be Dan Osborn.
Have you ever met Donald Trump?
No, I have not.
What did you think? Is it going to be effective? He's obviously popular in Nebraska. So what do
Yeah,
Nebraskans think when they hear him saying you're a bad guy? You're a radical left Democrat, he says.
It's the same thing that the Fischer campaign's been saying, so it's a regurgitated information. You know, he's never met me. I imagine if we met, we might like each other. But it's kind of strange that never meeting somebody, you just take blindly somebody's word.
And what about on the presidential? You voting for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump?
You know, at the very beginning of this, we made an announcement that we would not accept the endorsement of any one political figure or any one political party because I'm independent. And I don't give
That kind of upset the Democrats, actually. They didn't like that you did that.
Yeah, they're still pretty upset.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. I'm an independent, and some people like it, some people don't.
But what about who are you going to vote for? I mean, you got to vote for somebody, right?
Well, I don't give endorsements either. So if I tell you who I'm going to vote for, that's an endorsement.
Do you care who wins it? This race, the presidential?
Of course I care. I want what's best for the country, just like everybody else does.
But the big issue is you could decide who controls the Senate. I mean, will you still just move your desk in the middle of the aisle, or will you?
Yeah, I think that's where I need to navigate. I need to navigate down the middle, because that's what the two-party doom loop means. It means we're so far apart, and politics is so polarized.
But even by not deciding, again, if you win and the Senate's evenly divided, you will have decided. Because if you're in the middle or you're going one side or the other, again, any one of those three decisions could determine who's in charge.
Sure. Unless you can bounce back and forth between issues. I've read this book quite a bit, and I've never
seen... You got the Constitution, okay.
I've never seen anything in there, and I've never seen anywhere written that says you have to do these things. I want to challenge the system, because the system needs to be challenged.
I've heard you suggest this could be a movement if you win. And I assume you mean a national movement.
Yeah, a national movement. You know, I think what it's going to do, if Nebraska does the right thing and elects a mechanic to the halls of power, first of all, the rest of the country is going to say, holy crap, did you see what Nebraska did? They're going to be talking about it. And what it's going to do is it's going to tell people who are nurses, teachers, plumbers, carpenters, bus drivers, truck drivers, other mechanics. I don't want to leave anybody out. But it's going to tell them that you don't have to be a self-funding crypto billionaire to run for office.
You say you might take a mechanic to fix Washington. You really think you can fix Washington?
I hold no delusion that I'd be one out of 100 senators.
Yeah.
And I don't expect to charge in there and be a maverick and start pounding my fists on the table. But I'm pretty good at forming alliances with people and convincing people just to do the right thing for Nebraskans and for the American people. I think this is the start of something special. People are ready for it, and I want to be a part of it.
Our thanks to Dan Osborn. We reached out to Senator Deb Fischer for an interview about the race. She declined our request.